guys, and welcome back to my channel. Clearly from the title, I'm going to be telling you about my breast reduction experience. Before I get started, I will let you know that I have had 2 breast reductions. I had one in 2005 and I had one in 2012. And I'm going to give you a little background of how the surgery works and my experiences and what I went through and the reason why I ended up having 2 breast reductions. So basically, from a very young age, I think about 3rd, 4th grade, I started developing. And now with the different hormones and things like that that you see in foods, when you see a young girl that's more developed, it's not necessarily a surprise or like, wow, oh my God. But during that time, you know, to see a 4th grader with, you know, starting to develop breasts, it is kind of like, wow, like she's developing young type of situation. And I'm 29, so that tells you how long ago I was in 4th grade. And so I didn't really have that many issues with it, with kids picking on me. I did have some people that thought that I stuffed my bra, which is normal during that age for people to think that, especially when you're that young and you start to develop and things like that. So throughout school, I didn't really have that many issues when it came up to getting picked on. When it comes to back issues, I really didn't have back issues, and I think that's because me and my breasts we grew up together, I guess you can say, in a way. So I didn't really have back issues. When it came to the size of my body, I was always like the normal or average size. I wasn't skinny, I wasn't thick or curvy, I was just like the normal average size. So I think that's one of the reasons, or 2 of the reasons, why I didn't have back issues or back pain. So by the time I got to 7th grade, I think I was a C cup, which was large back then, which is not really considered, I guess, large or, you know, whatever now. And I just keep on saying that because of different hormones and the way girls develop really fast these days. And so by the time I got to my freshman year of college, I was a triple D. At least I think I was a triple D. The size bra I was wearing was a triple D and it did fit, but I probably was a little bit larger now that I think about it and I look back, and now that I know the size that I truly am now as a 29-year-old woman. So the summer after my freshman year, which was 2005, I had my first surgery and I went for my consultations and all those good things. And the insurance wouldn't cover it, and of course I'm only 19, so I'm under my mom's insurance and all that, and they considered it to be cosmetic. They didn't see it as me having a problem or what have you. And so I got a piece of paper here because I'm going to show you what the doctor does. Basically, under the breast, and I'm drawing that so I'm not looking at the camera, it's basically they're making like an anchor. So under your breast you have this shape right here. This is going up under the middle, and this is going up under the sides, okay? So that's where the incisions are made and where the stitches are going to be at. So that's what the doctor did, and they cut off the fat, and then he stitched me up. Now, some surgeons will drain the extra liquid and blood and things like that from your breast, and some surgeons don't. The first surgeon I went to didn't, which I think contributed to, well, I'll tell you in a minute what I believe it contributed to, but he didn't do that. So the healing process went well. I will tell you, during the healing process, you will feel sharp pains and different things like that in your breast because your nerves and your senses are coming back, because it is very sensitive, and there's no feeling in your breast for a while, and the nerves and things like that are coming back, so you will feel sharp pains, but it's like you get used to it. Like at first you may be like ouch or notice it, but after a while when it happens, it's just like normal. Another thing was my doctor told me to rub vitamin E on my scars, because in the African American community, when people have surgery, you can keloid very easily. And keloid is like the large scars you can see. Sometimes it's like very thick and hard, like they could be like that thick and really hard. And so I was supposed to rub like vitamin E on them, and I had to wear tape on my scars and like massage my scars just to help with the healing process and the itching and the nerves and all those things. There is a type of hormone, or I don't know exactly the name of it, but I will include it. But it's a type of hormone that a lot of darker ethnicities do not produce, which is why we form keloids so easily when we have surgeries or we have a scar. So I keloid not very bad, but kind of bad, I guess you can say. And I didn't rub my vitamin E on my scars like I was supposed to. But after a while, the scars just went naturally down on their own. They didn't completely go away, but they definitely weren't thick and hard anymore. They just kind of were soft, and you can see the scars, and it was a lighter color than my skin. What else? Another thing, well, yeah. Now also, another thing what they do is they kind of lift up the areola part, and you may have a larger areola, you may have like a normal size areola, but with me I had a larger one, and the doctor like cut down the areola to fit the new size of my breast or what have you. And I felt like that part was too small for the size of my breast, and you know, it's not guaranteed that you'll be able to produce breast milk once you have a surgery, and like certain feeling may not come back in certain parts of your breast, like such as your nipple, your areola, and things like that. So when it came to feeling and all that came back. I just had my keloids. As I started getting older, or it's more, I'm not gonna say I started getting older, but as more time passed by, I still wasn't satisfied with the size of my breasts. And the main issue I had when it came to clothes and things like that was shopping for shirts, shopping for bathing suits, and different things like that. So I didn't have any back problems, but I just wasn't satisfied with the size of my breasts. At the time, when I started realizing this, I think one of the things that made me start realizing this was the job I worked at actually covered breast reductions. A lot of women were getting breast reduction surgery off that insurance. So if you're thinking about it, definitely check your insurance and see what it covers. Go for your consultation. You know, consultation is usually just like a copay. It's nothing very expensive, but go for your consultation and see if your insurance does cover it. And so I was debating. And so in 2012, I had my second one. This time I went to a female doctor. Now I will say also, the first time I was younger and I really didn't know what size I wanted to be for sure. I just knew that I wanted to be smaller. So by the time everything was said and done, I went from a triple D to a D. So go back to 2012, wanted to have my second surgery. I went for consultation. I heard about this woman that was really great. She had did most of the people's surgeries at my previous job I had worked at, and so I went to her. And I just knew she was going to do a great job. And she did. And so earlier I was telling you the shape that they make. Okay? And I was also telling you how some doctors do the drainage tubes and some don't. Well, she did the drainage tubes. And basically the tubes would kind of be on this end and this end. So I'm going to just put a star or X. The tubes would go on that end and that end under your breast, and that's where it would make sure you got all the drainage and all the extra fluid. Now I'll backtrack a little bit until you. Growing up, my left breast was always larger than my right breast. So during my surgery, even after my first surgery, it was still larger. So during my second surgery, the doctor took a lot of time to make sure that they were equal to each other in size, because it's normal for one to be bigger than the other. That's just life. So she took a lot of time to make sure that they were equal to each other in size. So I definitely appreciate that. And she did the drainage tubes. I appreciate the drainage tubes, even though they were very difficult to deal with at times, especially with sleeping and draining them and things like that. I appreciated those, and I had to wear those for about a week, I believe, and I got them taken out. During both surgeries, not only did I have reduction, but they automatically did a lift as well. So yeah, that was a great thing to have done. My second surgery, well, how can I say it? I'm very pleased with the size after my second surgery. I told her I really wanted to be a B. Like, I don't ever remember being small. I just always remember being large. Like, I really wanted to be nothing at all. But now the size bra that I wear is a C. And I'm very pleased with the size and the work that she did. I'm not going to say I wasn't pleased with the first doctor. I just feel like there was things that the second doctor did that the first doctor should have done when it came to the size, when it came to the drainage tubes, and things like that. During my second surgery, she did a really good job at the way she, I guess, did her incisions on my breast really helped with my scarring, and I keloid, but not as bad, nowhere near as bad as I did with my first surgery. So that has been great with the healing. And the sharp pains, like with the nerves coming back, really weren't that bad with my second surgery either. And I don't know, it's because one doctor was a male, one doctor was a female. I'm not knocking any male surgeons, but I do feel when it's a woman doing a breast reduction, I think she's taking more time, because as a woman, she truly understands what you're going through. So do I recommend a female doctor? Yeah. Is that bias? I guess so, but that's just due my own personal experience. I did have a lot of checkups with her. I had more checkups with her than I did with my first doctor, and those checkups were all included in my bill, or the cost of my surgery, or what have you. So, to say the least, to make a long story short, I'm very pleased now with my results and where I am at. I am going to include pictures before I had my first surgery, after I had my first surgery, and what I look like now, which if you watch my videos, you pretty much know what they look like now. I'm still going to include pictures so you can see the difference from my full body and my proportion. Now, I will tell you, the first picture I'm going to show you before I ever had a surgery, it's kind of ratchet. I was a junior in high school. It was after prom, and I just was feeling myself, and it's kind of ratchet, so excuse that picture. But all the other pictures are more normal or what have you. I'm trying to think, is there anything that I'm forgetting to tell you about my experience? I would say I definitely recommend it if you are thinking about it. Just go for a consultation, you know. What's the big deal for going for that? It doesn't mean that you have to still get it. If you are having pains and things like that, try to get documentation, because I know some people who've had really bad issues, like doctors would say, no, you don't need it, you just need to exercise, lose weight. Well, guess what? My body was a type where if I lost weight, I didn't lose weight in my breasts. So that doesn't work for everybody, just working out and losing weight. So I would say definitely get any documentation that you need. Definitely check your insurance and see what it covers. Save up. They also have different medical credit cards that you can apply for and things like that. I will say it can be costly. So if you have great insurance and you're thinking about getting it done, definitely get it done. I recommend it. I know I love shopping now for shirts and bathing suits, and I can wear shirts that I didn't never wear before or thought I could wear before, and it's just more proportioned with my body. And shopping is just a much more happier, joyful experience now that my breasts are more proportioned with my body, and that my breasts, now that my breasts are also smaller. And I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that I need to tell you about it? I think I covered everything. Of course, the doctor will give you prescriptions for medicine, for pain, for what do you call it, and make sure you don't have any side effects or bacteria or different things like that happen. And I definitely recommend the drainage tubes. I definitely believe that helped a lot with the size of mine and the healing process and things of that nature. So if you have any questions or comments, if you're thinking about getting a breast reduction, definitely leave it in the comment box. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to see those pictures. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.